The scent of expensive sandalwood and freshly brewed espresso fills our open-concept kitchen. It's a smell I used to associate with safety. Now it just smells like a lie. Mark stands by the floor-to-ceiling windows, his tailored suit jacket draped perfectly over his shoulders. He looks like the man every woman wants, successful, handsome, and devoted. For 7 years, I believed I was the luckiest woman alive. We were the power couple of our social circle. "Elena, did you remember to RSVP to the charity gala?" he asks, his voice smooth as silk. I nod, adjusting the diamond tennis bracelet he gave me for our anniversary. "It's all handled, Mark. Like always." I take a sip of my coffee, watching him. He's checking his phone, a small, private smile playing on his lips. My stomach does a slow, sickening flip. I've seen that smile more often lately. "It's not for me. I have a late meeting tonight," he says, not looking up. "Don't wait up for me." "Another one?" "That's the 3rd time this week," I say, trying to keep my voice steady. He finally looks at me, and his eyes are filled with that practiced, gentle warmth that used to melt me. "The merger. Honey, you know how it is. I'm doing this for us. For our future." He kisses my forehead. It feels like a brand. As the front door clicks shut, the silence in the house becomes deafening. I walk over to the sink and look at my reflection in the window. I'm 34, a successful interior designer, and I've spent the last decade building a life that looks like a magazine cover. But lately, the edges are starting to curl. I find a stray receipt on the marble counter. It's for a boutique baby store across town. A store I've never visited. We don't have children. We weren't ready yet, according to Mark. My heart hammers against my ribs. Maybe it's a gift for a client or a cousin. I reach for my phone, my fingers trembling. I trusted him. I gave him every piece of my heart, my bank account, and my time. I never questioned the late nights because I thought he was building an empire for us. That was the moment everything changed. I realize I don't know the man who just walked out that door. I don't know him at all. The boutique is called Little Stars. It's nestled in a trendy neighborhood I rarely visit. I sit in my car across the street, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turn white. The door opens. My breath hitches. Mark walks out. He isn't alone. He's holding the door for a woman, younger with long blonde hair and a soft, tired smile. But it's what she's carrying that stops my heart. A car seat, a tiny blue-blanketed bundle is nestled inside. Mark reaches out and brushes a strand of hair from her face. It's a gesture so intimate, so domestic, that it feels like a physical blow to my chest. He takes the car seat from her, his movements practiced and careful. He looks like a father. I feel invisible. I am a ghost watching a life that was supposed to be mine. I follow them at a distance. They drive to a modest townhouse 10 miles from our luxury estate. I watch from a corner as Mark carries the baby inside. He has a key. He doesn't knock. He belongs there. I sit in the dark for hours, the engine off, the cold seeping into my bones. I'm waiting for him to leave, for him to come back to our reality. But he doesn't. Around 9 p.m., the lights in the upstairs bedroom dim. My phone buzzes in the cup holder. A text from Mark. Meeting is running late. Might just crash at the office hotel to save the commute. Love you. The bile rises in my throat. I want to scream. I want to run to that door and tear the house down with my bare hands. How long? I whisper to the empty car. How long have I been a fool? I drive home in a daze, the city lights blurring into long, jagged streaks of neon. When I enter our house, it feels like a mausoleum. Every piece of furniture I picked out, every painting we chose together, it's all tainted. I go to his home office. It's usually off limits for legal privacy. He'd say, I don't care anymore. I find the spare key in the fake book on the shelf. The bottom drawer of his desk is locked. I pry it open with a letter opener, the wood splintering under my hands. Inside is a folder. Not business papers. Medical records. Birth certificates. Noah James Sterling. Father, Mark Sterling. Mother, Chloe Vance. The date of birth is 8 months ago. For 8 months, my husband has had a son. For 8 months, he has been living a double life while I sat at home, planning our future, children. The betrayal isn't just the affair. It's the life he stole from me. He let me wait. He let me believe we were a team while he was building a separate world. They thought I wouldn't fight back. They thought I was too soft, too invested in the illusion to break it. They were wrong. The next morning, Mark returns home smelling of ivory soap and nursery powder. He tries to kiss me. I flinch away. "You okay, El? You look like you didn't sleep," he says, reaching for the coffee pot. "I know about Noah," I say. The name feels like glass in my mouth. The silence that follows is thick. Mark freezes. He doesn't deny it. He doesn't act confused. He just sighs a long, weary sound and sits down at the table. "I was going to tell you, Elena. It wasn't the right time." The right time. I erupt. My voice cracks, the pain finally breaking through the numbness. "He's 8 months old, Mark. You have a family. You have a whole other life." "It's not a life, it's a responsibility." He snaps back, his eyes flashing with a sudden, cold defensive edge. "Chloe was a mistake. A one-night thing when we were fighting last year. But the baby, I couldn't just walk away." "So you lied. For a year. You looked me in the eye every single day. And lied." "I did it to protect you," he shouts. "I knew how much you wanted a baby. I knew this would kill you. The gaslighting is so effortless, it makes me dizzy." He's trying to make his betrayal an act of mercy. He walks toward me, his hands reaching out to anchor me, to pull me back into his web. "We can work through this, Elena. I'll provide for them, but you are my wife. We can still have our life. We'll just keep it separate." "Separate," I whisper, looking at him in horror. "You want me to live in the shadows of your other family? You want me to be the official wife while you play daddy on the weekends?" "Don't be dramatic," he says, his voice turning icy. "Think about your reputation. Think about your business. Do you really want a messy divorce over this? The scandal alone would ruin your brand." He's threatening me. He's using my hard work as leverage to keep me quiet. "I trusted you with everything," I say, my voice trembling. "And you used that trust to bury me. I'm the one with the power here. Elena, my name is on the firm. My name is on the house. If you walk away with nothing. Be smart." He walks out of the kitchen, leaving me shattered on the floor. The man I loved is gone. In his place is a predator who thinks he's already won. I spend the day in a dark room, the weight of the deception crushing the air out of my lungs. I feel small. I feel discarded. I think about the baby, Noah. He's innocent, but he's the living proof of my husband's contempt for our marriage. I look at the wedding photos on the wall. We look so happy. It was all a performance. But then a spark of anger flickers in the center of my grief. He thinks I'm weak because I'm kind. He thinks I'll stay silent to save face. He doesn't realize that when you lose everything, you have nothing left to fear. I don't leave. Not yet. I play the part of the grieving, submissive wife for 3 days. I let him think he's cowed me into submission. While he's at his office, which I now know is the townhouse, I begin my own merger. I hire a private investigator, a woman named Sarah, who specializes in high-asset betrayals. I don't just want photos of the affair. I tell her, I want the money. He said he's been providing for them. I want to know where that money is coming from. 3 days later, Sarah calls me into her cramped, neon-lit office. She slides a stack of papers across the desk. "It's worse than you thought, Elena," she says. I look at the ledgers. Mark hasn't just been using his salary. He's been siphoning funds from my interior design firm. He's the CFO of my company, a position I gave him because I trusted him implicitly. Over the last year, he's moved over $200,000 into a private offshore account. The account isn't just for the baby. It's in Chloe's name. He's planning to leave you, Sarah says gently. He's been draining your business to set up a life with her. He's just waiting for the right moment to file for divorce and leave you with the debts. The room spins. He wasn't trying to protect our marriage. He was staging a slow-motion robbery. He was waiting for me to be so broken that I wouldn't notice the ground being cut out from under me. There's more, Sarah adds. Chloe isn't just some mistake. They've been together for 2 years. They met at one of your gallery openings. She was a catering waitress. I remember her. A young girl I had tipped extra because she looked tired. My husband didn't just have a baby. He had a parallel universe. I look at the bank statements again. He's forged my signature on 3 different loan applications. He's used our house as collateral. If he leaves now, I don't just lose a husband. I lose my home, my career, and my reputation. He thinks I'm a victim. I whisper. He thinks I'm his perfect illusion. What do you want to do? Sarah asks. I look at the photo of Mark and Chloe in the park, laughing while they push a stroller. It's a picture of a man who thinks he's untouchable. He wants to keep this quiet. I say, a cold, hard clarity settling over me. He wants to protect his reputation? Fine. We'll give him the opposite. Are you sure? This will be messy. He took my life, I say, standing up. I'm going to make sure the whole world sees him do it. I call my lawyer, not a divorce lawyer, a litigator. I'm not just suing for divorce. I'm suing for fraud, embezzlement, and a list of grievances that will make his perfect life crumble. And because Mark loves the spotlight so much, I'm going to make sure the trial is the biggest show in town. The preparation is grueling. For weeks, I live a double life of my own. I smile at Mark over dinner. I let him pat my hand and tell me everything will be fine. I even go to the charity gala with him, wearing a dress that costs more than Chloe's townhouse. I watch him work the room, the charming, successful Mark Sterling. I see the way people look at him with envy. I feel a grim satisfaction knowing that this is the last time he will ever feel this powerful. Behind the scenes, I'm working with a PR firm and my legal team. We've discovered that Mark's merger was actually a shell company scheme to move more of my money. He's not just a cheater. He's a criminal. We have enough to go to the police. My lawyer, Marcus, tells me, no, I say, if we go to the police now, it stays behind closed doors for months. I want him to see his downfall in real time. I want it to be public. I want him to realize he can't hide anymore. We file the lawsuit quietly, but we choose a specific jurisdiction, one where court proceedings are live-streamed for public transparency in high-profile civil cases. I wait until the morning of the first hearing to serve him. He's sitting in bed, scrolling through his phone, when the knock comes. I open the door and let the process server in. Mark looks at the papers, his face draining of color. What is this? Elena, what did you do? I'm taking you to court, Mark, I say, my voice calm and low. For everything. You're crazy. This will ruin us both, he screams, jumping out of bed. No, I say, walking toward him. It will ruin you. I've already moved my personal assets. I've alerted the board of directors at the firm. You're being removed as CFO this morning. He lunges for me, his face contorted in a mask of rage I've never seen. You think you can win? I'll make sure you never work in this town again. The cameras are already waiting, Mark. The whole world is about to see who you really are. I walk out of the house with nothing but my handbag. I don't need the clothes or the jewelry. I need the truth. As I drive to the courthouse, my heart is pounding, but for the first time in years, I can breathe. The illusion is shattered, and the light is finally coming in. He thought I wouldn't fight back. He thought I was a character in his story. He's about to find out that I'm the one writing the ending. The courtroom is packed. The air is thick with the hum of cameras and the whispers of reporters. This is the Sterling scandal, the story of the year. Mark sits at the defense table, looking pale and disheveled. He's no longer the golden boy. He looks like a man who hasn't slept in days. Across the aisle, Chloe is sitting in the back row, clutching her purse, looking terrified. I sit at my table, back straight, wearing a sharp navy suit. I don't look at him. I look at the judge. This is a civil suit for fraud, embezzlement, and breach of fiduciary duty. Marcus begins. For hours, we lay out the evidence, the bank transfers, the forged signatures, the photos of the second family funded by my sweat and tears. The live stream chat on the monitors in the hallway is exploding. The public is watching the perfect husband get dismantled piece by piece. Then, it's my turn to take the stand. Mrs. Sterling, Marcus asks, when did you first realize your husband was living a double life? I look directly into the camera lens. I'm not talking to the judge anymore. I'm talking to everyone who has ever been lied to, everyone who has ever felt small. I realized it when I found a receipt for a life that didn't include me. I say, but the betrayal wasn't just the baby. It was the fact that Mark Sterling saw me as a bank account, not a human being. He used my love for him to fund his lies. I see Mark flinch. He told me I was nothing without him. I continue, my voice gaining strength. He told me that if I spoke up, I would lose everything. But I realized that I had already lost everything the moment I married a man who didn't exist. The defense tries to cross-examine me. They try to bring up marital instability. They try to paint me as a vengeful wife. Isn't it true, Mrs. Sterling, that you were distant, that you focused on your career more than your husband? I focused on building a future for us. I say, clearly, he focused on stealing it. Then comes the final blow. Marcus calls a surprise witness, Chloe Vance. She walks to the stand, trembling. She looks at Mark. And for a second, I see the same look of desperate hope I used to have. Miss Vance, Marcus says, did Mr. Sterling tell you he was getting a divorce 2 years ago? Yes, she whispers. He said Elena was unstable. He said she was abusive and that he was only staying until he could secure his finances to protect me and the baby. The courtroom gasps. Mark puts his head in his hands. He didn't just lie to me. He lied to her. He used the same narrative of being a victim to manipulate both of us. We were both just tools in his game. He told me the money was from his family inheritance. Chloe says, tears streaming down her face. I didn't know it was hers. I didn't know. I look at her. I don't feel hate. I feel a profound, soul-deep pity. She's just the next version of me, trapped in a house of cards that's currently on fire. The judge looks at the evidence, the blatant theft of funds, the calculated deception. The evidence of financial fraud is overwhelming. The judge states, his voice booming in the silent room. This court finds in favor of the plaintiff. Not only is the marriage dissolved, but all siphoned assets are to be returned immediately with punitive damages. Mark looks up, his face twisted. You've ruined me. I have nothing. No, I say, standing up to leave. You have exactly what you built. A life based on nothing. 6 months later, I'm standing in my new studio. It's smaller than the old one, but the windows are larger, and the air feels cleaner. My business is thriving. People didn't turn away because of the scandal. They flocked to me because they respected the strength it took to face it. I pick up a morning newspaper. There's a small blurb in the legal section. Mark Sterling sentenced to 4 years for grand larceny and fraud. He couldn't pay back the damages. The civil suit triggered a criminal investigation. He's lost the townhouse, the cars, and his license to practice law. I heard Chloe moved back in with her parents. She reached out to me once, an apology letter that I read but didn't answer. I wish her well, but she is a part of a past that no longer has a place in my present. I walk out onto my balcony, looking over the city. I thought my life was over when I saw that blue blanket in the car seat. I thought the pain would swallow me whole, but the pain was just the breaking of the shell. I'm no longer the woman who needs a man to validate her worth. I'm no longer the perfect wife in a gilded cage. I am Elena, and for the first time in my life, I know exactly who that is. My phone rings. It's a new client, someone who wants me to design a home that feels like new beginnings. I smile. I know exactly how to do that. I look at the empty space on my finger where a diamond used to sit. The skin is smooth. The tan line finally faded. I am whole. I am free. Sometimes losing your family is the price of finding yourself.